3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so let's bring in our reference image. So we'll tap here, reference image, import photos. Okay. And if you want to move it around, just hit transform and then you can move it around as needed. Okay, so the character is essentially kind of like a rounded cube or rounded box. So for now, let's just go ahead and hide the default sphere. Add box. We'll go ahead and validate it. So now we'll use this little beaker to smooth. Make sure this is not adjusting. Okay, good. Sometimes I forget to set the focus. So we'll smooth it. Maybe around there. I might have to inflate it a little. Actually, it's not bad. It's tricky though because this feels like, I guess it's not bad. Let's see if we can relax these corners. Let's see if we try relax. I actually never used that relax, to be honest. You know, it might be a cylinder. Let's try that. This looks okay, but these corners are kind of killing me. I think even if I voxel remesh it and then smooth it, it's better, but it feels like it should be cylindrical. I guess it could be rounded square, though. So maybe we'll keep it rounded square. I feel like it's a bit wider. But I still want these to maintain. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do select mask. I think I'm going to take it off symmetry. Actually, no, let's keep it on symmetry. Let's go to the gizmo. Let's do symmetry, vertex, vertex. We'll make sure that we're on X here. And then we'll grab this red arrow. We'll just pull it apart. Okay, that's not too bad. I feel like it needs to be a little more curved. So let's see if we can take the beaker and just smooth it a little bit more. There we go. That seems pretty good. That seems like a good likeness. I'm going to stretch it this way too. Okay, I like that. So this is going to be the head. All right, so for something like this, I guess we don't need to really flatten it out, but we can either use a mask to make this cutout, or we can make the shapes and do a Boolean. Boolean might be a better answer for that. But let's try and block out this section where the eyes and nose are first. So I'm going to add a box. We'll just go ahead and validate it. And I'm going to make it around what we would need. So probably around there. I'm going to move it out so you can see a bit better. Probably around there. So obviously these are going to be rounded. So we'll go to our beaker again and smooth. And let's see. Again, I don't usually relax. Let's see if I put on the wireframe, if I can see what relax is actually doing. It's interesting. So it's sort of like relaxing the edges, it looks like. It's interesting. And inflate, I think, is just. Interesting. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And now for this shape, it looks like an upside down sphere. So let's go ahead and add a quad sphere. You can turn the wireframe off. We'll use the little gizmo and move it out, shrink. And now when we look at the front, oh, you know, it actually looks, I mean, I guess it does kind of look like that, but I wonder if we can also use a cylinder. I'm going to hide the quad sphere and just stick with the cylinder to see if that's an easier way to get to that shape. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down here. So it looks like it's probably around here. And the reason I like this shape, let's see. Well, firstly, we can use the cylinder options and bring it in like that. So that's the first thing. But it seems like that might be pretty good, honestly. The bottom looks like it's actually more flat now that I'm looking at it. I don't think I noticed that before. But I can go on here, use symmetry, turn on X and Z. And I might be able to use move and just expand this. Make move a little bit bigger. And just expand that bottom so it's a little more straight. I have to make sure that I'm also expanding it down. That's not really great. That's not good what I did. It might be better to just trim it. Let's try just trimming it with the rectangle. If I could smooth that out and then just take select mask with the rectangle and mask this and then just bring this down. And then clear the mask. Well, I wonder if I can do the mask and then smooth out the bottom a little more. Shape looks all wrong. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. So I'm going to delete that. Let's add a cylinder. Okay, so let's add a sphere, quad sphere. We'll use the gizmo and we'll move it up. I'm going to shrink it like this. This looks more accurate to me. Because I don't think I can take this. If I validate it, I'm not sure. Let's see how I can smooth it. Oh, that smooths pretty well, though. It's not bad. Let's see if I use the sphere to kind of round it exactly the way that I want it. I think that looks better, and the bottom is flat. So I'm going to validate that. And these two, I'm going to voxel remesh together at like 150. And then I can smooth this, make that nice and smooth, and then I can stretch it out a bit. I like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to use that. I need to stretch it this way as well. Okay, so this still looks pretty good. I'm gonna make it a little bit wider. This looks pretty good. I think I might need to make this a little bit bigger. And I was thinking about going to the 3 dots. Post subdivision, we'll bring that to 2, and we'll bring this to 4. Ooh, post subdivision all the way down. Never mind. And then we can validate it and rotate. Let's do snap and let's change it to 45. That way one of the flat sides is towards us. So now I'm curious if we voxel remesh this at like 150 and then smooth it. Okay, I think this is telling me that I probably should have just kept it. Let me relax it as well. And let's try to inflate it. Ooh, inflate kind of gives us that shape that we're looking for. I feel like that's it. I feel like that's a good shape. So this is actually back further. So that would be around there. So I'm going to do a quick save. And these two, I think I'm going to voxel remesh around 220. Wait a minute. I meant this and this. So we'll voxel remesh that around 220. So that should hold its shape fairly decently. Are they together? Are they one piece? So now we'll smooth that. Okay. It's not bad, actually. Okay, so let's just solo this. I want to trim it. Let's take trim with a rectangle and let's trim this. Actually, before trimming, let's take select mask with a rectangle. And then we'll use the gizmo and we'll just move it back. We can actually close this off by sliding this. Okay, I'm going to clear the mask. Unsolo. So now, I'm going to take this box and I'm going to rename it face. And then I'm going to clone it. This is going to be face 1. I'm going to change it to face X. So when I put an X, I know that's what I want to cut. So I'm going to hide regular face. This is the head, so I'm going to rename that head. This other face, I'm going to... Oh no, that's the hidden face. This quad sphere, I can delete. This quad sphere, I can delete for now. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the face. Pivot, auto pivot. I'm going to move that back into this. And I want to do a Boolean. How big is that? Let's try the Boolean. So we'll select both. We'll unhide the face X. If it doesn't work, just make sure that this is unselected. So you should be able to hide just the face X. Boolean, Boolean. Oh. Oh, I don't know why it didn't work before. It's very odd. Okay, so anyway, I want to see what this looks like if we turn smooth shading off. It's so clean. I wish we could leave it off, but I don't think that we can. So anyway, let's smooth it out a little bit. Smooth doesn't really work. Okay, so I did the Boolean, but I want to voxel remesh it. Let's voxel remesh it like 250. Oh man. I don't think relax is going to help me here. I think I do need to smooth. Oh, that's actually not too bad. That's not too bad. I wanted it a little more crisp, but I don't think I'll be able to get that unless I turn smooth shading off. And then, if smooth shading is off, I don't think I'll be able to get the details that I want. So we'll leave it there for now. Let's take face. Oops. Let's take face, pivot, auto pivot. I'm going to move that in there and see how we're doing. So it looks like I might just have to use the move tool. And just adjust it so it's exactly how I want it to look. I'm not sure of any other way that I can pull it off otherwise. So I'm just using the move tool to make this fill out. the sections. Something like that. Let's try to smooth it again. Would use the smooth tool, but I really like this, like just the universal smooth, I think is so useful. All right, it's not bad. I wonder if I can, maybe I'll move the face up a bit. I think that's pretty good. Let's add a sphere. Move one here. Mirror it. Although it does look like a cylinder top. Let's add a cylinder instead. We'll go to our gizmo and rotate it. We can put this back to 90. We'll just rotate. And if I was to validate, let's see if we can just smooth into that shape. Let's hide the spheres. Smooth. Oh, that's pretty good. Move it back and then maybe take snap off completely so we can make these nice and flush with the side. I think I like that. Do a quick save. Now we could paint this, but I'm not sure if I want to paint it or not. It does have some texture. The nose is tricky, so let's do the body. Let's add cylinder. Make sure it doesn't go into your mirror. These are the ears. Let's label these while we're here. Cylinder is the body. We use our gizmo. Okay, so it's just inside the space of like the chin. I can see a little bit of a difference here. But I'm not sure if it's worth it for me to. I'm not sure I care that much about this little detail on the mask or the head. To bend it out like that. I'm going to try to smooth tool. Smooth that, smooth this. Okay, that's not bad. I'm going to voxel remesh this like 200. I'm going to try to smooth it a little bit more. I'm seeing some weird shadows that I don't like. Okay. So for the body, it looks like the bottom is wider. And let's see what happens if I do it this way. The old way. Post sub to 2 and then bring this down. That feels about right. Let me bring this up to 3. I'm going to have to put texture on it, so I should probably just make it way bigger than it has to. Which is unfortunate, but that's kind of like what you do with Nomad. I think that's a good size. So I'm going to go ahead and validate. I might need to put a sphere underneath though. It's either that or we go symmetry, X and Z, back to move. No, we might be able to just kind of pull it. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Oh, it's not bad. I think that kind of worked. I can probably even just smooth it out a little bit too. Okay, I think that works. Legs should be easy. They look like cylinders. Go with legs. I need to just save this. Actually, while I'm here, let's look at the grid. I'm going to move everything up to about here for now. Turn the grid off. And I'm going to save this camera view. So we're going to tap the camera here, add view. You can tap the pencil. I'm going to put 1 because I just like to name them numerically. And then OK. Oops. So back to the cylinder, shrink. Stretch it. Let's look at this. Oh, yeah, I guess cylinder works. Make it a little wider down here. Tad bit shorter up there. Okay, I think that should work. Now it looks like I might have to take the body. Might have to bring... Let's make sure they're in the middle. I think I'm going to move them back a little bit. Might need to bring them all the way up until the body. Body, I might need to pivot. Auto pivot. I might need to make a little bit wider. Do I need to make it a little wider though? Okay, I think I want it like that. And I think I want to use the body to trim the legs. Let's mirror this. Now you see they're not really far enough apart, which is interesting. Face. Ooh, that's off though. What's off? Pivot, auto pivot. Auto pivot, ears. Might have been because of the pivot, auto pivot. I might need to just make everything a little bit wider. So if I take the face, it's actually the head. Move the ears up as well. So if I take these cylinders and move them out a bit, and then take the face and the head. Okay, this is good that this is right in the middle. That's where it should be. It messed it up because of the ears. So I'm just going to stretch this to make it a bit wider. These can go in a little bit if they need to. The body can stretch a bit this way. These can come out a bit. And I think maybe they need to rotate. I think something like that. So I'm going to do a quick save. And I think I want to take the body. Clone. So this will be body X. Now the legs, I guess I need to be happy with them. Which I think I am, so I'm going to validate. This is legs. So we'll take these two. Hide the body X. Boolean, Boolean. And then we take the legs and we can smooth them. I think that's pretty good, actually. Pivot, auto, pivot. I think that's pretty. Ooh. Why do I feel like these didn't get smoothed at all? Did they? Oh, they did. Let's smooth them a little bit more. Let's see what inflate. Let's see what that gets us. I really want the top smooth, but it doesn't look like it's really smoothing the way that I want. Let's try smooth without. I'm actually going to trim one leg. Turn symmetry off first, and then trim one leg. And then for this one, I'm going to go to Gizmo, Pivot, Auto Pivot. Sometimes it's easier to just work with one leg, I feel like. I want to stretch it this way. Maybe even... I feel like that works. If we had a mirror, still not enough space between the legs. I like that space. So we'll make that a little bigger, and there we go. So the only thing I would have done is probably made these a little bit bigger. So you know what? I'm going to add another cylinder. Well, oh, that's why I added there. I forgot we moved this up. It's kind of annoying, but okay, we'll stretch this up and make it smaller. Let's try this. Let's try post sub to 2 and bringing division X down. 10 is pretty good. 10's good for now. I'm going to delete those other legs. And then I'm going to take this one and rotate. And I might just go a line and then stretch a little bit. This way I can just take the trim and trim straight across. Now this looks like a cylinder. So I'm going to add another cylinder. Okay, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, so let's do post sub to 2 and bring this down, round these puppies a little bit. I think that's perfect. So we'll go ahead and validate that. Okay. So all of these can be validated together. And this can be legs. I believe that's legs. And if I want to smooth it, maybe I can just smooth it a little bit. Wait, did I do that right? Okay. Did I voxel remesh them? I think I might have. I'm going to go 150. If I go 150, it's going to give me a lot of resolution. But they don't look like they're together. I don't think I remeshed them together. Oh, the new thing, so I have to redo quad remesher again. Restore purchase, boom. Okay, turn these off. Let's do a quick save. And let's do same. Oh, it's not the same though. It doesn't, I don't think it voxel remeshes them together. I'm going to do 150. Now I know they're together, and now I'm going to smooth. There we go. So now I'll do quad remesher symmetry, and I'll just do half. Just so I can get that, that cleaner topology, because they're very simple feet. So I don't need anything crazy. Although I am going to put texture again, so with the texture later on I might need to make it big again, but we'll see. For now, that's pretty good. Eyes can be painted. There is like a a little something something there. I'm not sure how I want to do that, but we'll deal with that when we deal with it. The arms are probably going to be tubes. So we'll make them bigger. Let's do a radius. Get a little bit of a curve in there. Make this one smaller. Oop. Let's turn snap off. I'm going to add another one here so I can get a little bit more of a curve at the top. Now the fingers, let's make this a little shorter. Like so. And actually, this is going to be kind of round. So maybe we'll try to, I don't know if I like that though. So let's just do that for now. And you know what? I want to validate it, I think. And let's try this smooth. Okay, I'm going to subdivide it. Multi-res, subdivide. I'm going to subdivide it again. Right, let's stretch it this way. And let's stretch it a little bit that way. I think I want to smooth it some more. Part of me wants to trim. Or even line and just maybe trim this way. Part of me wants to trim it like that. Voxel remesh it, maybe around 150 or so. And then smooth. See what we get. I feel like that feels more toyish. I thought I was going to have to flatten it this way, but it doesn't look like we have to. It's just these fingers, which the easiest way to do those fingers, I guess, would be tubes. Tubes can be a little annoying, though. Let's turn snap off. I gotta figure out what all that stuff is for. I have no idea. Give it a little bit of a curve. And now let's do post sub to 2 and get this round. I'll bring it to 4. It's still tricky. It's hard to get it round. Yeah, that's the only kind of annoying thing about that. Ooh, I never really played with this before. I turned off constant density. Let's see. Ooh. Constant density. I'll have to remember that. Okay, so how big is this thumb? So firstly, let's make it a little bit bigger and just smaller. That's a good thumb. It's a nice looking thumb right there. So let's clone so we don't have to do all that again and move it over. We'll rotate. What did I just do? Gosh. Let's take the squiggly and we can make these a little bit more. Just like that. So let's use the gizmo. And I'm going to change the pivot so it's right at the top. I'm going to rotate. I want it right there. Okay. Ooh, a line. I'm going to keep it on a line for now and rotate it down. Oops. So that this is going straight down. I'm going to go pivot. Oh, that didn't work. Could bake it, but I don't think I can bake it yet. Can I bake it? Pivot, auto pivot. Okay, I guess I'll wait a minute. Pivot, auto pivot. Can I bake the pivot? Pivot, auto pivot, or does that keep it there? That's okay. I'm going to rotate it like this and then move it up. Just easier to control if the pivot is at the very end. Anyway, so make it a little smaller maybe. And I think he's going to have 3 fingers. I mean, that looks pretty good, I think. But it has to be smooth. So this looks like it needs to go here. From the front view, we're not seeing that much of it. So here I can push that in. And this is just a regular curve. So do I want to validate it? Let's validate. Let's take move and just move this so it's nice and flush with the hand. I might need to make it a little thicker, but that's easy. Let's clone. I'm going to do a line and move it directly over. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to move it over a little bit more. Clone. Do the same thing. So there is a very defined circular section in the middle of the hand. Now, if you want that, I think the easiest thing is just to make a cylinder and have it pass through. And then you can cut that. You can do a Boolean and cut that out of the arm. So we'll just add a cylinder. And this is really just if you want to take it to that level and really make this look circular. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this. Let's do the side view. Rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, now I'm going to take a look. Maybe even X-ray might help a bit. So you can see where it's going to go. So it seems like it would be something like this is all we need to cut from that. Oops. And you know what? I might even make it a little bit bigger. And just squash it a little bit. So let's see how that does. And again, this is really just to make it circular where that palm is. So I'm going to validate this. So we have the cylinder, and then we have this tube, which is the arm. So we'll take both of these and we'll hide the cylinder. And then we'll do a Boolean. Okay, so I think I want to do that reversed. Okay, so I think I want to do it reverse. So I think I want to take the cylinder and then take the arm and then hide that so that this one, you can see that they're highlighted, but this one is different. I think that's what I want, because before the arm showed up where the cylinder was, I want the arm to stay where the arm is, because we have these fingers that are hierarchied, that are connected to it. So we have this is more highlighted. So let's try that again. Boolean. There we go. So now this cylinder is gone and we just have the arm here. And I think that was perfect. I think that worked. I think that worked pretty well. Now, of course, I could go back and angle it, but I think that's fine. If I really wanted to, I could undo that and maybe turn it a little more this way, a little more towards us. Like that. And then do the same thing. Hide this, Boolean. But either way, I think it looks pretty good. So I want to make sure the fingers look good. I think they all look great. I think everything looks great. So I do want to take the arm and just slightly blend a little more. So I'm just using the move tool to kind of move it a little more into these fingers. And I'm leaving a little space in between because I will want to move the fingers and things together. And looking at the side, it looks like I can move them all this way. So I'm going to take, that's the thumb. This one's the thumb. So these are the three fingers. Let's do pivot, auto pivot. So I'm using the gizmo and that just brings it closer. So I'm going to move these over. So they're a little bit more in the middle. And I'm just gonna even this up a little bit. Okay. So now I'm gonna save this whole arm. I'm gonna select, and I'm gonna voxel remesh. And actually, you know what? I want to increase the resolution of these. So I'm gonna go here, multi-res, and subdivide each of these fingers. Just so they're a little bit higher resolution, and then I'm going to take everything and voxel remesh it. I'm using this shortcut. Obviously, it's the same as voxel remeshing here. If I use this, it's the same number. So let's do about 150 160. So we'll remesh. And now they're officially one piece. So now we can take smooth and just make them one piece. And actually, before I did that, I probably could have put these together. So the way I'm going to do that is just take select mask with the lasso, and I'm going to lasso each finger. So I'm sort of angling it so I don't get much of the palm. I just want the finger, really. So, for example, I'm not doing it like this, because then we get all this palm. But if I angle it up, then I can probably get less palm. I still got a lot of palm. Let's just do it here, maybe. Actually, let's hit solo, and let's do it from this angle. Let's see if this helps us out. Okay, that's a little better. Just want to get a little bit more here. Okay, that's a little bit better. So now I'll just invert that, and then I can use move. Really big to just move this over. Okay, so now I'm going to select mask again. And I need to do the same thing with this finger. So I'm gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna clear. And I'm gonna try to isolate this finger, piece by piece maybe. See, that's a problem. You can just unmask and clear that. And you know what? Let's do mask. So when you use the mask tool, then it's just like painting it on, so that's actually really helpful in this situation. It's one of those things that somehow you can sometimes forget that there's an easier way to do it. Okay, so let's invert. Now we'll take move, and we'll just slide this over. So that it's touching. Okay, so then we'll take mask, clear, or we can stay on solo. I don't know why I got off solo. So now we can take smooth. Now these are touching, and we can smooth. And it looks like some of them moved apart. So, yeah, if you want to, you can kind of do it again. I'm going to move them a little closer. Move this pinky. Okay, let's see if that's good enough. Clear, smooth. Sounds good. I don't mind that little space, to be honest. Probably just squish it over a little bit, like so, and then clear, and then smooth. Nice. So at least that's kind of closed up. So we have a nice fist, and then we have those nice natural creases. We don't have to like make creases in the arm. Perfect. Okay, so now if you want a quad remesh, of course you can, and it won't join these together. If you were to box or remesh, these would become one piece, so then it would ruin this nice natural creases. Okay, so since we're here, let's take the arm, add mirror. We'll do a quick save. So now, all right, so it looks like we need to take this face with move, because we need to move this in a little bit here. And this might be sticking out a little too far. I think that feels a little bit better. Looks like we have, let's see if we can smooth that to make it a little more straighter. Otherwise, we might need to come up with something else. Might be able to box and remesh it around let's try 130. Box or remeshing lower so I can smooth it, because I can always go back up if I need to. So at least we got that a bit more smooth. I'm just going to take move and I'm going to bring this back out a little bit. Just because there's a lot of space there, and I don't really want that space like this. I want it to really be even. So I'm just trying to stretch this so that that space is even. Here I have to move it the opposite way. Okay, hopefully we can smooth and it'll be nice and smooth. All right. Okay, these look a bit bigger actually. Okay, so those are a bit bigger. The nose. So this looks like a cylinder. So let's add cylinder. Let's take it out of this ear. We tapped the ear last, so that's why when we added the cylinder, it went into the ear mirror. So you have to be careful about that sometimes. Whatever, in the scene menu, whatever you have selected, if you add a new primitive, or if you add anything, it will go right underneath that. So if it's a mirror, it will go in that mirror. Okay, so our cylinder. I have a bit of a cold too, so I apologize if I make what's the word I need? Interruptive sniffles. Let's do snap 90. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Maybe a tube though. The thing with a tube, no. The thing with tube is you can actually make shapes that are kind of like that, rather than do them freehand. Okay, so what I think I want to do is give this some more. Let's do the post subdivision up to division X. I probably could have left that as it was, actually. Do I want linear? We can do one linear. Okay, so I'm going to flatten this. Okay, so I think the best thing to do would be validate. We can try to use trim as a polygon. First, let's try it with the lasso. And I want to change the symmetry. I'm going to tap symmetry. We want left and right, yes, but we also want front and back. So is that Z or is that Z, Y? We can't see it because we're not using local. Once we do local, now you can see, go to symmetry, show line. Now we can see the red symmetry and the green. So that's what we want. We want everything that happens on this side to happen on this side, and everything that happens on the front to also go through to the back. So for example, we'll make it a little bit bigger and then stretch it. Okay. And then we'll take the trim tool with lasso, and let's just do a test. So let's say if I was to go like this, that. Now we're using symmetry, so I shouldn't have to go all the way to the other side. Okay, so that gives me something like that. Let's voxel remesh it at like 200. And then, it's actually not too bad. Let's try smoothing it with the beaker. Okay, it's not bad. It might need to be smushed a little bit more. Okay, so the one thing that I'm seeing is the whole thing might need to be smushed a bit more. And maybe with drag. The reason I'm using drag is easier. Move is more like using your palm to push like a water balloon. You use your whole palm to push it. Drag is like trying to push it with one finger. So they kind of they act a little bit differently. So certain applications, you might want to push something with a finger. Other applications, you might want to use your whole palm. Move is your palm. Drag is your finger. If you were trying to pick up a water balloon, you might want to pick the whole thing up by your palm. It's a lot smoother. Or you can use drag, 2 fingers, and picking it up like this. So that's kind of the difference. They're pretty much the same, but they just kind of act a little differently. So let's see if we can just pull this part back up. And I feel like we might want to pull it back a little bit even. Let's see. Now, if we don't want the other parts to move, of course, we can always use lasso. We can always lasso that, and then take move. Well, I guess we can use move now since we're using me. So I think that looks pretty good. If I want to move it back, like back towards the face, I would just need to turn off the Y, and then we can move it back. So that it appears like it's going back some. But let's clear it, and then let's smooth it and see what we get. See what we think. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Quad remesher might help me. Let's say if I did half. Still looks great. I did half again. Still looks great. Half again. Still looks wonderful. It's all about getting these shapes as small as you can. So we'll move the nose to the body, or to the face. Pretty good. I'm going to shrink it a little bit. I'm going to move it up. And it looks like there's a little bit of a tilt, so I'm going to try to tilt it down, make sure snap is off. I'm going to tilt it down a little bit. Maybe even stretch it. Oh, I love it. I think that looks great. And you know what? I might push it back a little bit more and then use something like clay with symmetry on the face. And I might want to just make kind of more of a depression here. Okay, let's smooth that out now. Okay, so now that's in a little bit further. Pull it out a little bit. If we want, we can try to, maybe this goes in a little bit there. This is really just semantics. I mean, you don't have to go as crazy as I am. I can't help it. I can't help but try and get all this little detail. And I like this shadow, but it makes me feel like, so let's use clay without sub. It makes me feel like there's kind of like a little layer here. So let's smooth that. Does that seem weird? That seems weird. I'm just going to undo it and be happy. You can always use move and maybe even just, maybe find what you need another way like this. Maybe that, and then maybe we make it a little bit smaller and kind of push it in where the nose is. Okay, you just want to make sure you keep everything smooth. So always smooth over what you do. You want to keep everything smooth. Okay, so for these eyes, again, we could paint them, but I think it's better, or not better, but it might be easier just to add box. Here's the gizmo. Where's our box? Down there. So we'll move it up, forward. What? It's on the tip. My Apple Pencil. Okay, we'll shrink. Okay, so we're about this size. We'll move it back to the eye area. Maybe a little bit thinner. Like so. Mirror. And then mirror, something like that. So it looks like they're a little thinner. Okay, so it looks like right about there. Now, of course, you want to bring this in more and maybe line it up with the head. So just rotate. You can take a line off. It might be a little bit easier. Okay, so it's lined up pretty well. And with these, we can actually go to the material, turn off smooth shading. So then we can go here and take the division X all the way down to, let's just do it at 1. And then we validate. Perfect. So now we have, I'm going to rename the mirror to eyes. So then, of course, we can still adjust these if we needed to. Now, what's tricky is that bit. I'm not sure how I want to do that bit, if I'm honest. It's a little tricky. The only way I can think about doing that is if I clone the head. Of course, I could just make a crease around, but that won't be very clean. But if I make another head, I can make it a little bit bigger. Maybe move it back. Okay, I mean, it's actually not too bad. Let me stretch it this, that doesn't work. Move it back a little bit, make it a little bit wider. So I need to move, oh, you know what? Let's move the bigger one. Move this forward a bit. Let's just smooth. Hopefully we can get this looking a little bit cleaner around the edge. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The only problem is this edge here. So we might need to just move and make that a little more prominent. See if we can make it a little sharper. Just smooth it a little bit. I think that looks great. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. This part is the trickiest part because I want it to look nice and even and straight. Because I want it to look flawless. It's not going to be, but as much as I can, I want it to look flawless. Now, this is a little bit different than this, but I still like it. I like that. So now that I made the head bigger, I have to adjust these as well. So I want to move these out and just make them a little bit bigger, like so. And rotate them a little bit. I'm going to move them out a little bit more. I'm going to take this helmet, and I think I'm going to try and pull this part out a bit. I just want this to be more straight. Let me smooth it. So I did a lot of moving, and that can really sometimes really make things look weird sometimes. So it does look a bit weird. It's just like not straight anymore. I really want it to be straight. Let's see what happens if I actually make it straight. Let's voxel remesh it on 200. Let's see if I can smooth this out. That's ultimately what I like, but it just doesn't look right. So I'm going to undo that. Okay, so I think another thing that I can try is take select mask with a rectangle. I can make a rectangle here. Let me make sure I get the whole thing. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, yeah, so the issue is that, okay, I have an idea. Let's take select mask, and we're going to mask off this front part here. Maybe around, yeah, maybe right in the middle. Take Gizmo and just move this back. That might give us enough room. Let me move it back a little bit more. So let's clear that mask. Oh, that's super long though, isn't it? I think that's probably as far as we can go, right? It's probably as far as we can go. So I'll clear it and then smooth. So it looks like nothing happened. And maybe we can take these and move them back to that flat, more flat area. It's decent. Okay, well, I think that's actually fine. I'm going to put them in the middle. And yeah, the only thing that I would be able to do is somehow with move, adjust the helmet. Okay, so I think those two things kind of got me in a place where I feel okay with it. All right, so now that we've done that, let's turn the grid on because I want the middle of the head to be, I want everything to be where it should be. So the head bigger, the face, the eyes. What is the cylinder? Oh, that's the nose, the ears. I want to take Gizmo and move all of this stuff up. So it's in the middle. And I think I want to we'll leave it there. And I want to take the body, the arm, body X, legs, pivot, auto pivot. It's still not in the middle. I think it might be because of the, let's see. So the legs, pivot, auto, pivot. Body X, that's correct. The arms, pivot, auto, pivot. Oh, okay, so let's take the arms. Let's validate. And going with the gizmo, we want to go up here. Oh, well, it looks like we don't have to bake it. So if we do pivot, auto, pivot, now it's in the middle. The ears, let's go ahead and validate those. Cylinder, this is the nose. The eyes, we can validate those. Why not? Face, head bigger. Okay, so legs, body, auto pivot, rename mirror arms, body, arms, this. I'm a little confused as to why it does that. Pivot, auto, pivot. Okay, so that moved it in the middle. I don't want to make it bigger. I don't want to make the body bigger if this isn't in the center, because then it's going to be getting bigger, but it's going to move one way to the left or the other, left or the right. But I want to make this bigger. I want to move it down. Maybe it's, that's actually pretty good. That's right where I want to be. I think right there is where I want to be. And I want the feet to be right at the red line. So I'm going to select everything and move this down to the red line. Notice I'm putting it a little bit below. That's because when I bring it to Blender, or if you have anything there, you want it to really make contact. So you want the flattest part of the foot to show, not where it curves. It even looks like it might be curving a little bit. See that? So I might even take everything and move it down a little bit further to maybe there. We'll do a quick save. Let me turn this ugly grid off. Okay. So let's make it a neutral color. So let's select everything. We'll go to this little paint cube and let's just make it a neutral color. I'm going to do something like that. Make sure the roughness is good. I'll do paint all. And let's turn on. So we'll go to our little shutter. We'll turn this up and do post process. So this is when we get more of a real look at what we've made. We'll turn the environment off. We'll add a light. Let's change the intensity to 2.5. And then let's go to these options here. So again, light is this little sun. So we'll go to camera, close that, and let's rename this key. I'm going to hit align, and this is the light. I'm going to move it over here. I'm not rotating it because this arrow is where the light's actually pointing. You can move it around anywhere, it doesn't matter. But if you rotate, then the light moves. But I think this is good. So we'll go back to the light, and we'll just press this little duplicate button, and this will be edge. Okay, let's hide our toolbar. And let's move this light over here because it's going to be an edge right here. So we'll rotate it. Maybe rotate it up a little bit. So then you have a nice edge there. And maybe even make it the color of your background if you want. So let's say edge. Let's say we want to duplicate that. Maybe name it edge 2. And move it over here, and then you can add another edge. Now it can be just as hard as the other side, or it can be a little bit softer, or maybe come from an angle or something like that. So you can adjust it however you like. I think I like that. And then of course you have another light that you can add, maybe another type of light somewhere. Maybe we want to, let's add a light. Let's change it to a point light. And maybe, oops, what happened to it? Point light. Maybe we'll move it up. To above. Like that. So maybe this light is, maybe it's a little bit warmer. Could also be cool or green. Or maybe just white. Maybe white with a little bit of a warm hue. Okay, so this is, obviously you can play around with it. You can put it anywhere you want, but sometimes it's just kind of fun to add some dynamic lighting to the scene. Okay, so I like this view. So I'm going to go to this little camera, tap it, and let's make another view. So let's add view. We'll name this one 2. And we'll save. And as for these little marks here, so those can be a little tricky to pull off. So what I did is in Procreate, I made a not a template, but I made like a graphic with like little scratches. So I just used a black canvas and I made white kind of lines in it. And that might be suitable for a texture if you want to do a texture. So essentially, we would just go to brush. We'll do the whole thing. So we want to go to brush and let's just clone it. And we'll just do brush ape or monkey ape. Okay, I'm going to move it down to the bottom so it doesn't mess up my other tools. So now that we've made that, I'm going to tap on it and save. So now we've saved this brush. So we want to go to the options here. So we have screen, dot. Let's go to the alpha. The alpha is the texture. So we'll tap on here, import, photos. And here's what I made in Procreate. So we'll tap OK. All right, so now we see this here, and you can see this is what it looks like. Scaling looks okay. You just want to make sure that there's no square inside the red circle. So you just want to scale it so you just see the texture. Now the fall off is also important. If you were to do it like this, you see it would be feathered or softer at the edges. But if you want it solid, you just tap here and do the flat line. That means it lays the texture down completely flat. It's not fading off of the sides. We might want that, but we'll see. The other thing I want to do is just go to filter and make sure it's front-facing vertices only, because I don't want it to go through on the other side of anything. Pressure should stay the same. And we might use lock radius. Let's try dot first. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger. And it's probably better to turn this off, actually. And go to the sun and turn on the environment. I'm just going to turn it down, maybe 2.2 or so. So let's see if we can get this texture. Okay, so let's make the radius bigger. Just see what we get. Let's make the intensity lower. Let's see what we get. Okay, so if you make this bigger, I think it's more of the same. All right, so let's go back here to our little pencil and let's do lock radius and see what we get. Okay, not bad. It's a little bit better. Let's turn the intensity all the way down. See what we get. Okay. So it looks like symmetry should be off. And this might be leaving too much of a circle here. Let's see if we do sub. What happens? No, that's not what we want. Okay. So we need to figure out lock radius. I don't think we want roll. Alpha. The scaling looks okay. I make it bigger. We're still getting that circle. Circle's the killer. Oh, how did I invert them? So, oh, there we go. That's much better. So I guess at some point in time I hit invert. And just make sure you don't hit invert. It should be like this. So that's actually not bad. Fall off is okay. Lock radius. Let me just check dot. Dot might actually be all right as well. It gives it a nice texture. So if we make this bigger, let's see. It's actually not too bad. The only thing that I'm seeing is in all these little textures is it's really dark. So we're not going to get that, unfortunately. Let's see if we turn the intensity up. Oh, there we go. It's not bad at all. So if I was to do this, the whole thing, it would probably give me that texture. But you can see that it's not really applying straight, unfortunately. Let's try. Okay, the alpha. There is a directional option. Screen, let's see what that does. Let's make this smaller. Okay, so let's try. We'll just try tile since we. Ooh, that's interesting. So that could work. This is a little spotty though, fortunately. It's a little spotty. Surface. So let's try. Stroke and lock radius. I feel like that's going to be our best bet. See, it gets kind of messed up. But that being said, it's not bad. but it's not the greatest way to apply texture. But it does apply some texture, so it does do the job. It's just not too pretty. So that's how you would do texture in Nomad if you wanted to do it, but it's a bit rough looking. Doesn't really look right. Everything else also has the texture, but I'd really have to bump up the resolution, and that would make everything really, really big. Let me turn the symmetry off. It actually lays a lot better on this. Not sure why. And again with this as well, you have to subdivide, maybe even twice. And the arms, let's see. Arms actually aren't too bad. I'll be able to get away with it. Okay, so we have some texture there. So let's do a save as. Texture. So we'll do a save as. That way we have another one. And let's go back to our post process. I'm going to turn on the one that I always use. These are the settings, so nothing crazy. Okay, so now we can actually turn this down a little bit. And now we can just lay some color. Move this over here. And just do some color matching. So we'll paint that. This can be the same color. And this can be darker. Ooh, what is that? Do I have another body? Oh. So I worked on two at once. That's a killer. That's not good. I'm going to delete body X, I think, and just use this body. That's tricky. So I'm going to go back to this brush and try to just make this a little bit I'm not sure why I can't get too much detail from this. Let's raise the intensity. Okay, that's better. Paint this. Paint this. I feel like it needs to be a little darker. And this is actually pretty close, to be honest with you. So if I use my eyedropper and take that color, okay, that looks pretty good. This can be the same color. And these can be black. Let's do pivot, auto pivot. Move them up a little bit. Oh, I'm seeing that my nose is a little low. These are the darker color. Oops, let's take the eyedropper and grab that color and make them that color. Nice. Right, and maybe I'll even make this into subsurface. Bring the density down a bit, and in the nose, oops, do subsurface, bring this down a little bit. Let's see, that'll make it a little bit more natural looking. But actually, it might look better without. See a little more detail. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's about it. Call it quits. I think he looks pretty good. And it was a fun challenge. It was a fun challenge to make this little guy. So let's just do a quick save. We'll get rid of the reference and actually now I'm going to add another camera view. Let's go ahead and save it. So we'll go to render. We'll do screen and we'll do transparent background. Make sure this is on. So we'll render it with a transparent background. That way I have one for the thumbnail. Okay, so I'll just send this to my computer. And then we'll go here, turntable, boom. That's it. All right, this was a fun, man. I can't wait to start printing. This will be a really fun thing to 3D print. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. I am the ape man. You are the ape man. I am the walrus. Cuckoo,